I talk to a lot of business owners, so it's always like what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Do you first increase production or do you increase the sales?
Sales are the easy part of business.
It is.
Profits, man, that is the challenge.
I have to pay for that product to come before I can sell it. I don't get orders and then pay for the product. 2020 during the pandemic was, sorry everybody, but it was great for us. Business just boomed. Honest to God, as you're going like this, you gain more problem. You always think that you can do it better than them.
It's like we fight to become comfortable. The second we're comfortable, we start feeling like guilty or we start losing it.
So everybody, welcome to the Tango One podcast. I'm Tony Smith. You heard me already introduce my co-host, Mike DeFazio from Reclaimed Artistry. And I always get that. It's like a Reclaim Artistry.
Reclaim Artistry.
Reclaim Artistry.
Yeah,
I always like throwing it into one word, like I'm reading it on Instagram.
Full line.
Yeah. You know, like saying
yeah. You got it.
And today our guest, Omar Abousaid from Macro Foods, owner of Macro Foods, who's become a buddy as of late. We've been doing a lot of chit chatting and talking business and kind of working together a little bit. So it's awesome to have you on.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
And I mean, man, like where to start? I feel like of all the small businesses, and us being a couple of like lovers of local small businesses, that's kind of what we do on here too. Is like we always try to get people that we know from other places. It's like to watch this one, Macro Foods, like holy shit, man.
Yeah.
It's like you guys went from this little thing that people were talking about to like I see you on every corner.
Let's hope for more.
Yeah.
It's been challenging. It's hard work. It's fun, but stressful. So it's gotten more stressful now that we've added a kid into the picture. We have a baby, so it's been even harder with that. But we had one baby, which we were able to grow, and then now you have another one. So it's like try to find the balance, and that's honestly been the hardest part of growing, because we just moved to, as you've both been there now, to the Dougal location where our commissary is, and we got 7,000 square feet now, just pure production in the back. Tony, you sat there and you watched it, but
I didn't get to see that.
You haven't. Okay, next time you're in, I'll show you. Now I have the capacity to just open on every corner. Before, when we were on Wyandotte, you saw it. Like, it was a little bit smaller. We were restrained on like, okay, we can open it. But, how do you supply the food here, and what happens if the store becomes, quadruples in sales like the other ones, like South Windsor is just blowing everybody out of the water right now. So we were always worried, but now that we have this, we have the ability to grow. And I hope we can continue. We'll see.
So that's really interesting. So when you're talking about growing, I feel like I talk to a lot of business owners, so it's always like what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Do you first increase production or do you increase the sales to then have to fulfill the increased sales with the increased production? It's like what one comes first, and how do you feel like you did it the right way by first increasing the production side and then fulfilling it with the sales, or did you already have the sales that were?
Yeah, we got like so many questions. It's like the perfect time for like you to come on, because
actually
scaling has been like our question. It was like the question a couple with Paige. It's been like kind of like and now you're somebody who's actually done it. So I'm really interested to hear this.
We're trying to figure it out on our own.
2019 was when I took over. So there was 3 former partners. Sarah was the founder. She was a founder with Chris. In 2019, I decided to buy out Dan and Chris. Dan was the other partner. And then Sarah and I kind of just went there, and I still remember I owned a nightclub called XO Nightlife at the time. So I was working the club at night, 10 o'clock at night till 4 in the morning. I'd go home, sleep for 2 hours, wake up at 6, be at work for 6:30 and start prepping. And, I remember doing it, and we're like, at what point do we expand? At what point do we just, hire people to do the production? And that's exactly what we're asking, the chicken or the egg. I don't know. I mean, and it just kind of, I'll be honest with you, it fell by itself as what we started doing was just open locations. As we opened locations, the production increased, but also the sales increased. So we kind of got both at the same time. And that's kind of what got us very lucky, because after doing the initial opens, repaying back your investments and so on, your production levels just go even higher, because now you're in there for a year or two. Your first year or two is always, any of my locations have always been very challenging, and I think you know how it is. Like I remember I talked to you about the South Windsor
Right.
location, and like it's always challenging the first year or two. But once people start really getting to know who you are, word of mouth, and just boom. And that's where we were at last year. Like we had 6 locations last year in 2023, but our production level was so high we couldn't keep up in our commissary. So we were trying to buy a building forever. Windsor's like the hardest place to buy anything right now, especially commercial wise. So finally we got lucky. I was actually going on vacation last year, and I was just driving to work, and I see this lease sign. I'm like, oh, okay, on Google, cool. So I call the realtor, a buddy of mine, Andrew McLeod. I think you know Andrew.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Andrew, call the guy, figure out what this is. So he calls me back. He's like, oh, Omar, it was the old Payless shoe source, and it's only 3,000 square feet. Like, you got to build the whole kitchen. I was like, no, it doesn't make sense. Forget it. So then the guy calls me back. The leasing agent literally has my number because he was the one who did our lease in Chatham. So he realized it was Macro Food. So he calls me. He goes, "You're looking for a space?" I said, "Yeah, kitchen." He goes, "There was an old Paramount Foods. It's a restaurant that closed down, like went bankrupt." And I was like, "Where?" He goes, "In the plaza that your realtor just inquired about." I was like, "Okay, how big is it?" He said, 5,500 square feet, but we have 2,000 square foot facility of just storage. I'm like, "Oh, great. Let's talk numbers." I literally left for vacation. I was in Lebanon, and I was working out these documents. We sent them the deposit. I wasn't even here. Andrew was handling everything.
Nice.
So everything got done while I was in Lebanon. I came back, and the place was ours. And then we just went to town on renovations.
And what a place it is, man!
Yeah.
Like out in the back there, like
saw it,
I told you, I'm bringing my boys for a homeschool trip. My littlest one, he wants to be the oldest likes this film stuff and football, but my youngest likes football too, but wants to be a chef. So
Bring 'em in.
I want to bring them in for their homeschool little dick because I
Yeah.
was like, this is the coolest thing ever back here. And I guess like one of the holdups I know for me, and I'm pretty confident I'm speaking for Mike here too, is like sales are the easy part of business.
It is.
Profits, man, that is the challenge. And now you're dealing with like, Mike, at least like you can resell that wood and stuff. Like, my product is kind of like, there's no real cost to my product going out.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas you're dealing with like, chicken that can go bad, vegetables that might have gone bad. Like, that's got to be a whole other.
So, I come from a background. I just turned 31. So I've come from a background. I've always been in food. Always. My first job was at Capri Pizza. I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
Age, but I was 13 years old washing dishes.
Oh, I've been in the back of a few of those as a cop. Getting some free pizza and pop. Yeah, baby.
You guys were probably coming in back then.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then I moved to the States. I worked there for almost 4 years. I learned a lot from my uncle. He's owned restaurants all his life. And I worked under a Michelin star chef. And he actually lost the star. He was supposed to get it. He was supposed to be a Michelin star chef, and he lost it. Went a little cuckoo. He is a little cuckoo.
Oh, wow.
I remember I used to, like, if I plated something just a bit outside the angle, or if it was just a little bit, like the plate had a tad bit of dirt, I'd just get a smack on the back. Like, what are you doing, you idiot? Start cussing at you.
Yes, chef.
Like,
Yes, chef.
Yes, chef. Yes, chef. Sorry. Honestly, it's the truth. Like, when it comes, it's like going to the army. Like, you can't tell the guy no or bitch back at him. You're gone. You're gone right away. He's not stopping it. Like, they hit. So, and there's knives. Knives getting thrown in the kitchen. So I learned a lot from him, and that's honestly where I was able to bring, because I opened the nightclub, and with opening the nightclub, that's how I met Sarah, and I transitioned taking on the chef role originally, and I changed all of the costing, and we started, and just like you said, like, there's a lot of product that goes bad because we deal with all natural and all fresh products, and you were there again. You're testimony to this. Sometimes you'll get a product that's fresh and it's bad that day. It's already bad because it came from the manufacturer, and the manufacturer could have had it the day before. Mm-hmm. Or in transportation, your distributor, their fridge broke down. You don't know that, right? So you have to check that. Like, when we get an order in, our guys go check the distributor's fridge. They have temp guns. They go out there and make sure all the temperatures are accurate before we accept any delivery. Because if it's not, then I can't risk what happened between me and a distributor. So a lot of the times we're getting like meats and it would be like bad. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, what are we doing wrong here? And then that's when we started realizing like these things can happen in between and just a waste of money. You know, like I have to pay for that product to come before I can sell it, right? I don't get orders and then pay for the product.
And not to mention, like, say I eat something, I get ill from it.
Yeah.
You know that I have lost it, and I will tell everybody about it. It's generally, but like one difference is like with food is if you hear that about something, like you don't even want to take a chance. It's like if you heard the garage gym like treated somebody bad or the workouts are too hard, you might be like, it might not be so bad for me. But if you know that somebody got ill off something, so that's definitely
you're not going back. No chance.
Tricky,
yeah. So, you know, dealing with that has always been hard, but that's why we've started to like implement more protocols. And there's a specific license now that we've applied for. It's called HACCP, and they teach you these things. They teach you what to look for. You know, if a delivery comes in and the can is like, you know, you get a tomato sauce, for example, and the can is slightly dented, you're not supposed to accept it because you don't know if it was punctured inside and anything went in that can. And there's all these things that you don't think about, but like, you know, if I told you this, would you be like, I don't know, it's just a punctured can. You know, you got it from the grocery store. You don't think anything of it.
Bro, that's where I shop, the scratch and dent.
Yeah. So,
the vegetables that are about to go bad, I want it. Give me that. Give me that.
I thought you were saving all that money.
Exactly. Because I got this nice microphone.
Scratch and dent. That's the best spot.
Yeah.
But no, I would not think nothing of that.
But that's like, I mean, a lot of these, the average individual will not. And like I didn't until I took on this business. And then that's when we just started to slowly, you know, grow out. 2020 during the pandemic was, sorry everybody, but it was great for us. You know, I wish we have another pandemic.
Throw this hot coffee on you right now.
Business just boomed, honestly, because we're grocery. So we're not really a retail store. We're just a grocery store, and we have to stay open. And we were considered first responders, kind of. And we were needed because we were dealing with the hospital all the time. So the hospital was ordering food from us on a regular basis. Like they were taking 500 meals a day some days. And this is like Monday through Sunday. So we were just pumping out volume. And that really helped us. That's what we were able to just take all that, you know, profit there and start investing. We opened Chatham, we opened London, Waterloo. And then now this year, we're able to manage 2 locations of South Windsor on Dougal, and then Sarnia on Lambton Mall.
And I think like what you hit on too, and I would imagine it's the same. Like I know with your business, my business, I felt the same way. Like we like shot up quick.
Yeah.
And I think that and probably at 500 meals a day, you're finding problems.
Yeah.
And at that rate, you have to not just find the problem, that you got to quickly come up with the solutions,
Absolutely.
right? So it probably really helps you guys to streamline, to prep you for multiple stores, right? Because that same stuff. So is all your food, is it coming from Dougal now and going everywhere?
Yeah, so we have refrigerated trucks.
And it used to be cooked in all different locations.
No, it was
always
the
like
Wyandotte
that.
location.
At
before,
Wyandotte.
Wyandotte, the little one
come in and be like,
Hall?
what's that smell, man? It smells so
Right,
good.
Wyandotte and Hall or something, right?
Wyandotte Moy, right in
Moy.
the corner, yeah. So we used to cook out of there, and we had the refrigerated trucks that would just deliver. And now we moved it all to Dougal, and we honestly, like, it's a state-of-the-art kitchen. I mean, you know, the amount of production, we have it down to, like, the second. Like, we know how much this person's going to take to cut a case of broccoli. We know how much that case of broccoli is going to cook, how much it's going to yield, where that broccoli came from, where it's going, how many meals are getting that broccoli, how many ounces is going in that meal, like, everything down pat. And when I tell you, like, everybody walks around with a scale because everything is measured, literally, like, if I see a staff member, you saw my windows that I put up there to kind of see them.
You got a boss office, I tell you that. I love my office. Your office, though, it's like, imagine this, but with all TVs, but not with games on, like games.
That's what I should do. Is put some games on there.
Well, like with all the like different locations, it was pretty impressive, man. I was like, wow, like this is real.
Yeah. So if I see them walking outside without a scale, I'm like, what are you doing? Why? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have the scale. I'm like, oh, you need a scale. They literally have a chef jacket here. Everybody has a scale. Anywhere they're walking around, it's their own digital scale that they come in just to make sure everything's always on point.
Nice.
And that's like, those are the things that we struggled. Like you said, when you started getting 500 meals, you're like, shit, like, what do we do? How are we going to sit there and calculate every this? And, you know, that person's using that person's skill. And then, okay, then you figure that part out. Then you jump on to the next. And I think, honest to God, as you're going like this, you gain more problems, just like you said.
Yeah.
Way more problems.
100%.
And then you start realizing, like, why do you're pissed off, kind of like, what the hell? This problem came from, and like, now what do I do? But the minute you figure that out, you're like, oh, great. Now you jump even higher. Like, it's just these obstacles. And as you continue to figure out these obstacles, you actually keep growing and growing and growing. And now when a problem comes in, I'm like, okay, great. Because I know once I fix this, or once we figure out how to maneuver around it, it's probably the next step. It's like jumping in a video game, like going level 1, 2, 3, 4,
Right.
5. And all of a sudden you're at the last level. Last level is when retirement comes in. So.
Yeah.
So talk to me about, so you're gonna need a lot of people to do what you guys are doing at this point. Like how are you structuring that in a way where, like, are they franchises, or are they individual stores? You guys own all?
Yeah, we own all of them.
Okay, so perfect example then. Chatham or London or even Waterloo, like how are you guys managing that from here?
So cameras? No.
Yeah.
We have our general manager.
Yeah.
And then we have a marketing manager / regional manager. So he does he does community outreach, but he's also constantly running to the stores. Every store goes there once a week. The far stores here, we're going there consistently. I check up in the morning, like I always do my drive-bys. I stop at each store just to make sure it's in good condition. But we have manager that goes there, and then we also have, every store has, I guess, they're all key holders, but every store has, I guess, a store manager, right? And they correlate with the regional manager correlates with the general manager, and then the general manager kind of comes to me or Sarah. Sarah's kind of a little bit, more so at home with the kid now. So, but she still chimes in from home.
Right, that's a whole other dynamic.
Yeah,
Hey, we had the
God.
same, like when we decided to homeschool the kids. It was like, well, you're 50% of this
Yeah.
place, contributing wise, like.
Yeah.
Let alone,
tough.
and
That's
it was like,
honestly
whoa,
hard.
now it was that was an adjustment, but that's where
Yeah.
we've got to, man. It's
It
good
was
though.
a
Make
big
it now.
adjustments. Yeah. Honestly, now he's getting closer to 2, so it's nice because like you can kind of talk to him a little bit.
Right.
But like in the first couple, and it was my first one, so I'm like, my God, what did I do?
Yeah.
I love the guy to death, but what did I
This
do?
felt so good, but what did I do?
Yeah. That's funny.
But yeah, so essentially that's kind of how it goes. And then we have like our own digital marketing team that does all of our ads online. We have a social media marketing team that goes and gets creatives for us. And then I'm just more so, we have we have several chefs. We actually have 4 chefs on our team. And each one is responsible for something, right? So one of them is menus, one of them is responsible for prepping, one of them is responsible for the cooking aspect, one of them is responsible for the packaging aspect. So like I'm directly in contact with them because everything around Macro Foods is that. If we do that wrong, that's, I can have bad customer service. And like you said, they may have not treated them properly or whatever at Garage Gym. Okay, that can work. Not to say that we do. I don't condone that one bit. But the food is the one thing we cannot mess up.
Right.
Right? It's like coming here and I have personal training with you and you don't train me. You just look at me and I'm like, okay, what did I pay for? Right? So, that's the one thing you can't mess up. So I go to get a table from you and you tell me it's going to look like this and this and this. And then you just give me a piece of cardboard. I'm like, Mike, what happened?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like direct contact with the chefs because I'm always, on their ass. Okay, is this done? Is this done? Is this done? And we have a million lists that they got to go through. So like they come in at 7:00, they leave at 4, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, depending on the day. But at the end of the day, I get a full list and then I got to review it to make sure everything's kind of intact, which is a process because there's so many other things that I could be focusing on. But I don't know. That's my biggest challenge. I don't know how to let go of that and just be like, all right, you guys,
Yeah,
that's hard.
Letting go of certain things has been like very challenging for me. I don't know, you too.
Yeah. I mean, all of us, I think. I think it's like, I
your
always
baby.
say in my camps there, it's like, whatever is like your strength is also like the very quickest way to like, wound you. Like, it's like your Achilles, right? And I think to become what we've done with our businesses to whatever degree, that's been that ability to control, to delegate, to go. And then it's like, oh, but now to grow again, I got to back off and do something else. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
So you got your most important thing. That's the one thing that you're having a hard time letting go of. Like, have you tried to let go of it in the past and it's like bit you in the ass? Has it?
I feel like this is coming from.
I don't know.
This is what's gonna hit home, bro. I need
Asking
to know
for a friend.
Asking for you.
yeah.
I don't know. Like I've let go. Even now, I've let go. Like before, I was in the kitchen prepping and cooking with them.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and like packaging, I've let go of that aspect because we have trustworthy people. It's just like it's still very. I don't know. I've never like 100% let go. Let's put it that way. I've like 40% let go, but the other 60 is like too hard. And I don't think you're going to be able to do it either if you're asking.
Dude, it's driving me nuts.
Let me answer your question.
Yeah. So I'll be completely real with you. So I've like tried to let go of certain things in the shop, taking my trustworthy people who are clearly technicians, who are very good at what they do, and I've given them more of a leadership role. You're my best guy in this. I want you to take control of this. I want you to grow in this area. And I've watched them try their hardest with all of their heart to fill the shoes, and they can't do it. Have you ever had it?
Can I tell you why?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Can I actually? And like this, everybody tells me because you always think that you can do it better than them, and because it was your baby, it was your idea, it was your work, it was exactly how you taught them. But sometimes there comes a situation where, let's just say you're building a table and I don't know, you have a little chip or something. You are going to handle it different than they are because they're not you.
Right.
They're not. And I don't mean that they're less than you or, you're a better person than them. I don't mean it in that aspect at all. It's just how you would handle a situation may be different than how somebody else would handle the situation. And so you're like, oh man, like he tried really hard, but he didn't do it right. But that's because you didn't think that it was done right. Do you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? I don't know. I don't know if I'm trying to. I may not be explaining it right, but it's like there's so many ways. There was this one chef that I actually had a long time ago, and he said to me, "Give me a recipe." I gave him the recipe, and he said, "Give him the recipe." I gave the other guy a recipe. Give the other chef a recipe. Gave him the recipe. He said, "Now you go make the recipe." I said, "Okay." All four of us made the same recipe. All completely different. Same recipe. All different. Because everybody's different. Yes, you're going to have similar flavor profiles,
right,
but it's not made differently. Like one guy started sauteing the stuff first before seasoning it. The other guy started oiling it. Like everybody was making it differently. So everything turned out different. And same thing, you may tell the guy to put the wood up first, but he thinks, no, let me put it up sideways first. And then you're like, man, like, why aren't you doing it the way I told you? But that's his way.
Right. I value stuff like that too, right? Especially with what we do because it's more of like an art, an artistic form of work that we do. So I actually, when I'm giving my guys building plans, I like kind of say get to point A to point B. How you get there is totally up to you. You have a shop full of tools. Pick the ones you want. Be safe. Be smart. Be efficient. Do your thing. Let me know when it's done. Not let me know when it's done, but like let me know when you're at the next step or whatever it needs to be. But that's very interesting that you said that because I know being a chef, you can. It's also artistic. Like,
it is.
So I can see the similarities there.
Bench press. So is bench press.
Yeah. Because you got the right technique to lift it. That's funny.
That's true too. Actually, you really want to put it in perspective.
I mean, like if you could really like apply that to anything.
Yeah.
It's like that artistic flair. It's like that. Everybody has a level of creativity at some point. It's like, how do they apply it to anything?
It's so challenging. I've given up the training, like the actual like writing of the workouts, the who's doing what when we're doing it. And that was my baby. That was the one that I was always said I will never let go of because that is my, that's my chicken parmesan that I'm sticking to. You know what I mean? That's what we're putting out. That's our number one. And letting it go has been a challenge, but then also that a lot of times like, why are you doing it like that?
Yeah.
Right. And then realizing that, oh, wait a minute, what he just did worked pretty freaking good. And now it's okay. Now I'm good. Now I'm happy with it. Now my criticisms are actually very constructive. I think it was before it was like more so like more personal. Yeah. It was like, I wouldn't do it like that. But now I'm looking out there like we could do this better. Maybe like this with a little bit of change. And now it's become, and that open flow of dialogue between Austin, who's our director of training, and I is much better than it was instead of like two alphas being like, no, curl with your hand in, curl with your hand out. You know.
So is Austin like putting together the workouts for everybody else?
Yeah, everything you'll see.
So
here
they
is
everybody
pretty
else.
much Austin, yeah.
So Austin creates it. Everyone else kind of runs it.
Right, like we have our weekly meeting. He kind of bounces ideas off of me. We kind of read the feeling of the room too, like because everything will work, right? But what are we gonna do best, and the most thing that works is people coming back. So what can we figure out, and we kind of go from there and build it, right? So it's been nice thing to see. It's been awesome, and man, has it freed up a lot of my time.
For sure.
It's why the podcast is back. To be honest with you, it's like I can do this again.
You breathe again.
Yeah. And I can, but then I'm also out like collabing with you and collabing with you on this. It's like my reach has become further because I lost that major role that was really holding me down.
And it's the key component is it's your baby, and it's very personal to you. So you got to pull your personal side out of it, and that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because before, when you would look at it, this was so personal to you. That's why you'd say, "No, I would do it this way." Everything is I would do it this way. Mike would do it this way. Tony's going to do it this way. That's how I want you to do it. But it's just all why. It's just personal because you hold so much of it in your heart and in your life. But and that's why I said, like before, I used to be with them with prepping, be with them with cooking, be with them for packaging. I've pulled back. And I go to them like, man, I would do it this way. And then I think to myself, you know what? No, that's the way they're doing it. It's still giving me the same result. I'm just going to let them do it because they're comfortable. And it's still yielding the same result. It's not costing me more. It's not costing me less. Customer's happy. Done. But again, it's hard to take your personal side out of it and actually look at it from a bigger picture and look at it from a business view where, you know what? We hired this person to do this job and they're capable of doing this job. Right? And that's where you start... Like you said, the leadership role comes in and you're like, okay, I'm a leader for a reason. Like I started this because I know how to lead people and do what I do and grow and now exactly you put yourself in that position for what you're doing. And that's why you have time right now to drink all that coffee and nobody's going to tell you, hey, come help me with this bench press.
Yeah.
Yes. And then honestly, when I actually get out there and do it, help people, it's like, it's fun again for me.
It is, yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like it was, because I'm just like you. I'm sure cooking becomes a job. Carpentry.
Can I tell you guys a secret? I hate cooking now.
Really?
I hate it. Honestly, I'm so like, this new menu has got my head so wrapped around and like, because there's, for us, like anybody can cook a meal. Honestly, anybody can. But maybe not Mike.
I've been learning.
No, but like there's so many components that go into this. Like it's got to be healthy. It's got to be good. It's got to fit the macros. And then I'm like, man, like, okay, now I got to go with this nutrition program and I'm doing this thing and it's not fitting my macros. And I'm like, okay, scratch that recipe. On to the next. There's so many things that you got to go through. And it's, again, that's why I had to pull myself out of it and just be like to the chefs, you guys, you're in charge of this shrimp dish. You figure out what to do. Just bring it to me. Let me know when you're done. You're in charge of these chicken dishes. Bring it to me. Let me know when you're done. Because it got to a point where it's not fun.
Right.
It's like it's a job and it's not fun to do. And now that I've kind of let go of this aspect, like when I do go to cook, I'm like, oh, okay, I have big gatherings at home. It's always me cooking. And I enjoy it because I'm like, okay, you know what? This is nice. This is like, I can cook freely. I can do whatever I want. But then when it goes
without
back...
a scale in your pocket?
Yeah, exactly. It's
What's
true,
in your
though.
pocket, sir?
Yeah.
What's my scale?
Yeah.
Imagine getting pulled over.
Yeah. That's exactly where my head goes when you say scale in the pocket. Right?
What are you doing with this?
Mike should he could have been your absolute number one ambassador. When I first met Mike, but I don't know, 3-4 years ago, when we first started to really hang out more, this guy literally all he ate was macros.
Dude, I lived off of macros for
every
years.
meal of the day.
Yeah, 4 meals a day,
every day.
Yeah,
every day.
I come in there, I throw in the microwave. I literally eat it in 5 minutes and tops, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know how he's like.
I shovel it in.
It's hot, and I'm like, go relax, Mike. It's not going anywhere. It's right there, bro.
Got no time for that, but I love it, man. It was like and you guys, because you guys are so close too, it was perfect.
Yeah.
I do love it. I do love your product. Like it is. It's nice to have somebody on who somebody that we always support, but this is something I use literally every week. Like there's a macro meal in my house, if not 10. Pretty much every week. I told you, I use it. Yeah, I guess it is a healthy choice, but I told you, for a busy parent going on an away travel baseball tournament, It is the best. I
good
grab
chew,
10 of those. I get the frozen ones, so you save a few bucks too. And it's frozen, so it stays in your cooler, helps keep the cooler cold, right?
Didn't think of that part. Yeah.
It's frozen food in your
They save it
cooler.
on ice packs now too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right?
There
And,
you
like
go.
it keeps the temperature of that cooler.
That's
It's
that
got to go through the whole
business mentality.
summer. Yeah.
That's great.
And like, man, like, sure, like maybe the price I could, if I made a rice and a chicken, would, you know, probably be a little bit cheaper. But like when you're talking being a wait turner, what am I gonna go to? Boston Pizza? Spent twice as much money,
for
have more waste,
Yeah.
less convenience, and like way obviously the health isn't even like not even on the same table.
I was
right?
gonna say
Like,
it's so much more.
so
unhealthy.
for me, it's like a massive savings
Yeah.
when I'm going away on a weight tournament, or for like days like today when my kids are getting hustled around. They're gonna get dropped off here at some point. Like, you know, that it's like, here's 3 back row meals.
Leave me alone.
You know, now they can heat them themselves. They'll heat them over there in the fridge and like, or in the microwave, and sit at the bar and eat them. It's awesome.
Perfect.
It's convenient. I've noticed, honestly, it's just a lot of people, everybody wants to be healthy, but not people really go out of their way to do it. But what I've noticed is really the key structure and the key point of what sells our product is just what you said. It's convenience.
Convenient. That's why.
Honestly, it's
And
convenience.
flavor, you
The
guys,
flavor
you
is
guys
great,
trumped
honestly.
all with flavor, man. Like it's
My
such
mom
good
would
food.
kick my ass.
It's freaking
if I didn't
good.
put flavor in there. Honestly,
Yeah.
She tried some of the meals, and my mom was like, "No, add more flavor." What do you mean, Mom? Like how much more flavor you want? This is not what I taught you. This is not what I would cook at home. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. So I have to rechange the meal. This lady was nuts, man. I
That's
used to
amazing.
bring her meals, and she'd be like, "No, this is not good. Not good."
Well, I told you, like, my household favorite for my kids, and it is delicious, just not my thing, lasagna.
Yeah.
They crush that lasagna. But I am like digging like the I guess the more Middle Eastern stuff you guys have
Yeah,
brought
chicken
in,
shish
like in the
kebab,
last
it's
like
really
year
good.
or so. You guys
Yeah,
are starting to
the
bring
shish
more of
kebab
that.
was good, yeah.
Chicken
Chicken,
shish
love that,
It's
man.
good. That's a really good dish.
Love
honestly.
it.
That's staying on the menu. Anybody who's questioning, but yeah, we're keeping that one.
That's the OG. That
Yeah,
one.
yeah, that one's really really good.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Chicken shish.
I mean, I do eat the steak and chimichurri.
That's good. Too.
That's a classic,
Yeah,
right?
that is a classic.
That's a classic, but it's not the best one. I'm gonna have an interview after. Yeah,
That's funny, man.
So I guess like for you, like what outside of business, like, you know, to run all these stores, what are you doing? Like what is like maybe a habit of yours that you could share that's like helping you like run things more efficiently, keep your brain clear, whatever it might be?
Honestly, as of late, I haven't been. I gotta get back in the gym, but I used to be super fit and like every day 2 hours, 6 a.m. in the morning, I'd be there till 8. I loved it because it starts your day off with so much
100%.
energy. Like it was so good. I used to literally wake up 5:30, be at the gym for 6, be gone by 8, shower, everything's ready to go. But I have a horrible disc now, so I messed up my disc. I was supposed to get surgery, didn't want to do it. I was too young, and then I started getting epidurals because it was bad. So and then I said no, I'm not doing that either. Is there any wood here before we keep talking? Knock on wood.
Yeah. Oh shit!
Those back from.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right. The carnival diet thing got me going.
No, honestly, I just it's really, I think, like now the family time has been good.
Yeah.
When I go home, I try to keep my phone away, just hang out with the baby and play with him as much as I can. So we don't see him all day either, so
Right.
it's kind of hard. But just like right when I see him, I just start playing and I forget that I'm even working or anything, and everything is just off my mind.
Well, that is it
Yeah.
then, man. That's like it's a form of meditation. It's
It
like,
really is.
right? Like
Yeah.
spending. I don't know if that would be the proper analogy, but it is like
Yeah.
putting your phone away and actually spending. Like yesterday, I did that too. I've been getting a little too busy lately with myself and
Yeah.
letting myself get too caught up in my phone after I get home.
Uh-huh.
And like it's crazy how
Yeah,
bad
you
they
don't
want the
ever
kids
notice
want
that.
you to be there and see
Yeah.
you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, like I noticed this when I just came back from Mexico last week, and I noticed like I was still working a little bit, getting phone calls, whatever, but majority of the time, my phone was in the hotel room, or in Sarah's handbag. But I noticed a lot of that, like hanging out with a kid freed up so much time, and I've never seen him happier. But what we don't realize is we go home sometimes and like we'll get an Instagram message on the business account. Okay, well we respond to it, right? Who's going to respond at 8 o'clock at night? The marketing company's not responding at 8 o'clock at night, so obviously we have to. you know, and probably same as you, like somebody messages you guys late, you're going to have to respond. We tend to realize, like what we don't realize is how often we are on the phone. We're supposed to be, you know, spending some quality time with them. And they really do see that. Like, you know, the other day he's like pulling me down. I'm like, what? And I'm texting. And Sarah's like, you know, he's trying to talk to him. I'm like, oh shit. Like, you know, you don't pay attention because your mind is like, oh, work. But, you know, this past couple weeks, I get home, leave the phone there, and I don't answer. I don't care what happens. I just, at least for an hour or two, and then I'll pick it up. And you're right, it is meditation.
Yeah,
really
I mean, I think it's more important to give your family, your fiance, whoever that is, that hour, than it is to give them 4 hours of like of crap.
Yeah,
like give them a whole hour, a whole half an hour if that's all you got, because you're building the business. But like something, and that was a habit I was great at, and I've started to suck at lately. That's why we come on this podcast.
Yeah. I remember you telling me a story. You used to tell me that you would get home and you put your phone in the laundry room, and like I know where your laundry room is. It's like all the way in the basement.
Yes.
That's like, and it's funny because I used to text you, and I wouldn't get a message back for a long time, and then now you text me and I don't text back ever.
Yeah, now it's the opposite.
But yeah, you used to do that. And actually, like I learned that from you, and it's hard to do it, like because I lately, especially, like I wake up, I'm working all the way till I go to bed, and it's been like that for I don't even remember. I don't even know how long now. It's been crazy, but it's because, and I know this myself. Like people might tell me that I'm working hard, but I don't feel like I'm working hard. I feel like I'm constant. It's these constant little distractions. So I'm not at work when I'm at work, and I'm not at home when I'm at home, because I'm half chilling when I'm at work, and I'm half working when I'm at home. So I'm like, it's like this feeling of confusion all the time. So it sucks, but it's stressful.
It's wild what it can do to you, man. Like I pick up, for example, working away, killing it. Then I pick up, I'm like, I gotta, like, next where I'm at, I'm like, okay, like work on this collab we got going on with Macro Foods. I gotta get a hold of Omar. Pick up my phone to text you. 15 minutes later, I literally have no idea why I have my phone in my hand. I haven't texted you yet.
You guys are like telling me what my whole day was like. That's how it is every day.
It's like we're trapped in it, man.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Like,
I checked some form of some Instagram models, most likely. Watch some funny things about farts and like people scaring other people, and then I'm like lost. And then I put my phone down, and then hours later, I'm like, oh my god, I didn't text someone. Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to ask you guys. Like, what do you guys? How have you guys been? You know, obviously extremely busy, but like, how are you coordinating your time? Because lately, I've just been going to the office, and I'm like, I'm staring at the wall. I'm like, you know, on my drive to work, I'm like, oh my god, I got this to do and this, to do. And I write it in my phone. Like, I write everything down just so I don't forget. But you know, I get to work, and it's like, freeze. What was I going to do? What's my first thing? Okay, I start with this thing, and then, oh wait, I gotta call Tony. Okay, I grab my phone just like you said, and then somebody calls me or somebody texts me, and I answer right away, and I completely forgot, and then I'm like, okay, on to the next. But I don't feel like I actually work. Like I'm not. It's, I guess, productivity. My productivity level at work is gone like this because I think there's just too much stress. But then my productivity level at home is gone like this. And that's why I've kind of just said I don't want to see my phone anymore. Maybe it'll push me towards my productivity at work to go up. But that's what I was going to ask you guys. Like, how do you know how productive you are in a day?
I mean, I was doing that prioritization of tasks, which I've taught, and like people love that thing. It's kind of it was like a filler in a camp I was at. I was like teaching a camp, one of these like camps where we keep everybody up 24 hours. Yeah. So I got to like get them off their feet, but I got to keep them entertained. So I'm like, I'm going to teach them the system I used in SWAT to teach, you know, prioritization of tasks. So you're not like a to-do list. It's an actual like, you know, like, like are we going to a murder in progress, or are we going to a break and enter that already happened last night? You know, it's like how we would do it in the police. And these guys were like in their notes were like, oh, this is the best. And so I started teaching it to people, and it's really worked. And like, every time that I'm on super stressed, it's usually Danny who points it out. She's like, hey, you haven't been doing your task stuff. So it's like putting him in the right quadrant, laying out my next day before I come in, which stops that like whole feeling. But that's what I mean. It's funny. We talk these things out, and it's like, man, I haven't been doing. Just like when people like you hurt your back, for example, and you do the things you do to make your back feeling better. The second it feels better, what do? Stop doing it. Exactly. And then 3 months later, your back freaking hurts again. It's like I'm doing these things that I teach, which is even worse. Stay on it, killing it. okay, I'm gonna stop doing all that stuff that made me really good at this. And then boom, there you are back at square one.
It's like we fight to become comfortable. The second we're comfortable, we start feeling like guilty, or we start losing it.
Yeah.
So it's that then it's like that constant fight.
It's
like
hard to maintain,
because like we're working hard to create that comfort, the nice house, the nice car, the security, the everything. And it's the second we get it, it becomes dangerous really quick because you start chilling, and you can't chill ever. I swear.
You don't have a chill in your body.
You
scream chill. You
Mike, look at this.
I just scream, yeah. But I feel these things at least, you know. I know they exist.
Oh, you're feeling all right. You're feeling.
Mike's chill is like he's like level 9.5, right?
Yeah, well, that's good though. That's the.
What are you doing? I'm chilling.
I'm chilling, bro. Oh, that's so funny that you guys are like feeling the exact same thing that I'm talking about. Though you literally described what I feel every single day. I'm sitting at my phone, and then you described it too. Like, oh, I'm gonna go do this. I grab my phone to go do it. Next thing you know, I'm watching cat videos and shit. I'm like, I honestly just want to throw
Just
it.
watching stories after that.
I know because they never end, bro. They never end.
You just keep clicking. Oh, this is nice. Go back.
Oh yeah, man.
Drives me nuts.
I love how you're saying that's what you're watching too. Cat stories.
You know, no, you want to know what actually my feed is? I show Lisa this because it's ridiculous. My feed, my news feed is literally filled with predator animals eating animals. Like lion attacking a zebra. Or like ripping the zebra.
This is chill.
Dude, I can't even turn it off, bro. I can't even turn it off. It's crazy. Like the giraffe fighting back, the giraffe beating up
So who wins?
hyena. Like,
who wins after all?
I don't know, bro. It never ends because the next video starts. But I can't turn it off because I'm like I can't turn, and I'm like, this cannot be good to watch all day long. I'm like,
you guys
watching.
ever get this stuff like where it's like, you didn't say it. I never said that to anybody.
You just thought it?
I thought it, and it comes like,
You know what I do?
like what is going on here?
Honestly, I do a lot with that with text messages. Like I'll read it because I always have my AirPods in. So as I'm working, if I get a message, I'm like, okay. So then I'm like thinking to myself, I replied. And then a couple days goes by and I need to contact that person. I'm like, and I see their message. I'm like, oh shit. Why didn't I reply to them? And then I'm like, I swear to God, like something's wrong with iPhones, guys. And I always get pissed off. Like I know I replied, but I didn't. I just thought in my head that I did it, but there was no reply. And I'm like, oh, now this is awkward. How do I text this person back asking them for something when they asked me and I completely ignored them for like 5 days? Like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I do that a lot with text, honestly. Like if I look at my phone, I don't know, there's like 1,000 messages that I have not opened, and it's because I thought that I replied, but then I didn't reply.
Oh, you're killing me,
and it's
man.
so
They're
bad.
killing me.
It's so bad.
So if
Should have two phones like this drug dealer here.
yeah, I got two phones and I don't answer either of them. So I try to answer all my phones.
Didn't you pick them up when you were in SWAT?
Yeah.
So I have to, when I wake up in the morning, I try to clear my phone. So if we're texting, it might be like, you might get a text from me every morning at 6 a.m., 5:30 a.m. Like that's the only time I sit down, and there's days I have to clear 72 text messages out of my phone. But I get to 0 before anyone responds. And then it starts again. And then by 7 a.m., it's filled again. And I'm like, I never get to the end of it, man. I can never get to the end.
And honestly, I think, guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is like 100%, I think 100% the truth. A lot of our productivity is being taken away because of our phones and social media.
Oh, 100%.
So
Could not argue with you.
But
He's
how do you-
watching Lions, instead of working.
Yeah.
Who's winning?
I don't know if the lion. Apparently, the lion ate the zebra. He won.
I mean, there's so much. I mean, there's bazillions of dollars that go in to attract your attention there, and then
That's true.
thinking about that from a grander perspective with the baby and me with my little boys is like, that's what my boys are seeing as normal,
And that's
what's really bothering me. It's like they're seeing that as normal. Like, hey, Dad, you see that highlight? Like we're sitting there watching the highlights, and I'm like, oh yeah. And then he'll say it, and then I'm like, what? Right? And it's just not the way we should be. Like, I mean, we spent the first 45 minutes talking about how awesome our places are and our businesses are, and then we spent the last 20 talking about how shitty we are as people.
It's the roller coaster real time, friends. You got the roller coaster, the life of an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy because you say that, but on the flip side, it's like, imagine we didn't have it because our businesses would be built entirely different. All three of us.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that's my main that is like, well, all the channels, all the social channels is like our main driver of our business. Like most of our leads, like I think it's 80% of our leads come in directly from social.
Just out of curiosity, I'm gonna just throw this out there, and you let me know. If there was no social media, do you not think that you would probably have more business?
I don't know. I mean, it also because at the same time it works against me because now if they're trying to buy a table from me, there's like 900 other options. Same with you guys.
Yeah.
Well, I know I would have more business.
Yeah.
Like I guarantee. Like I feel like my advantage over other businesses, other gyms, is my ability to interact.
Yeah. 100%.
So and I think I lose that ability because maybe my ability to like.
He doesn't look as good on social
media. Right, a nice graphic. You know what I mean? Like your nice graphic, like they're just like people's attention's being drawn because somebody's really good at something else that I'm not so good at, right? Like
I don't think it's just that. I think that the old days they used to do like newspaper ads, or they used to do more like knocking.
So we're talking
like literally knocking on doors and getting business. And like if you came up to my door, better than me seeing your ad on Facebook. Your ad on Facebook, I'm just going to pass by probably. But if you physically came to my door, knocked, and said, I'd like to offer you personal training for free, and if I don't do well, don't sign up. Do you think I'm going to say no? 9 out of 10 times I'm going to say, yeah, go ahead, let's do it.
It's that personal connection.
That's what I'm saying, right?
See
so I think social media, now, let's go.
A.m.
Let's go.
Hey, workout starts in like 5 minutes.
I truly feel like social media, it's great for marketing. But in the same breath, it's really not. It's only good now because everybody's doing it. So you have to. Right. Because you can't not. If you don't do it, nobody's going to recognize you. Everybody's like tied in, just like you said. He's watching, lions and monkeys and, I don't know, cats. And you're watching cats. I mean, they got you guys hooked. They got you guys real hooked.
We're hooked on cats, bro.
But, if the social media was not existent at all, I do think that there would be actually more business. There'd be a lot, in my opinion, and at least for us, because it also gives us, like right now, like you said, competitors, right? There's all your competitors are on there, and they may advertise something better than you. They're just good at that, or they may spend more money in advertising than you.
Yeah, that's
right?
The one. Yeah,
and they're spending more money in advertising than you, but their product, it doesn't come nearly as close as yours, nearly. And so you'll eventually have people transfer over. Like we get so many first-time customers, all because they used somebody else and they didn't like the service, and then they're like, you know what? Let's try Macro Foods. Let's see if they're better, and they're hooked. They're like, I don't know why we didn't try you in the beginning, or your ads are not resonating enough to us, because you're talking like you're spending with Facebook, and all you're doing is you're just getting some information that they give you. It's just what they give you,
right?
And hopefully it's right, and then you got to cross-reference with your sales and the algorithms and all that. But how many people are they giving to your competitor?
Right, exactly. And I'll get our tinfoil hats on about Facebook, but it's true. It's true. And I have found that definitely having competitive businesses, and this is not a knock on them, I don't want to be that guy, helps my business.
It does.
Because it like an F45, for example, is going to be, it looks warmer and more welcoming than I probably do. Like I have to be self-aware. Like we have a reputation for being hard. I got my tattoos. I got the way I speak. It's just a little bit different. So if that helps somebody to get in there and get in shape, that's awesome. Like I'm not upset by that. And that also might help somebody to see like, hey, you know what? I want something a little bit different. And me likewise. I'm sure that my business helps an F45 or the Movati down the street because it got somebody in, it made them comfortable enough where maybe now they want to go work out by themselves. Yeah. It's just, it does. Good businesses, and bad businesses help each other. That's why it's like good 100%. To have more on the same block, right? It's never bad to have a lot of be on a busy block.
No.
Like what McDonald's and Burger King across the street from each other all the time.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Are there any Burger Kings anymore?
I don't know. I haven't eaten that in forever.
Go for a freaking
We got Macro Foods now.
Oh, yeah. It is Wednesday.
That's why
It's actually interesting because we've watched such a huge shift from social, from like traditional TV, radio ads, billboards, to social. And now I feel like we're not the only people having this conversation where like we're thinking social media is like it's almost producing like the reverse now. I actually wonder what it's gonna like. What is it gonna look like in 5 years, 10 years from now? Like, how much more intense is it gonna get? You have guys like Gary Vee talking about it's gonna be all voice. So whatever Amazon or Alexa is gonna tell you is the one to go to, that might be the only way.
Yeah.
But now you got no visuals. So how do you do that? That's all paid. But who knows? Because there's going to be people like, and I know you and I have talked about this, it's like, at what point do we start going away from it because it's the new familiar thing where we're talking to people again, we're getting experience with other people and not just dealing with the social media, the algorithm, and all the ads. It's like, when I go knock on your door, are you going to be more inclined now because... or are you going to want to run away? I don't know.
I feel like Alexa is creating the Terminator to come back for Mike.
Right?
Like,
You got to be chill,
lead
Mike.
the revolution.
You got to be chill.
He's going to lead the revolution against the robots.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think so. I don't think that will ever go away completely. Like, people need people. Like, we found that out during COVID, right? As great as it was for your business, what my business discovered was, like, people need people.
Yeah.
And that's why they're banging the
You guys
door
had
to
it hard.
I mean, they were forced to close, but I'll tell you, like, within a few months, we realized we were not going to be okay with that anymore.
Yeah.
And you know what? The people
Supported
us, and they wanted in here, no matter what their belief was on masks, vaccinations. We had it all going on in here, and I was very open about mine, and it didn't stop the people who had the opposite view, because people need people, and they want to be, part of a
Culture.
cult, for lack of a better word. I guess, right?
I think, to your point, Mike, I think we're going back in age. I don't think we're moving forward, but I think we're going back in age. Like, when you look at all the new designs and all the new dress code and everything, it's all like the old era stuff that they used to wear. There you go. Look at Tony.
We got a cardigan on.
But
like,
in the same breath, I think because now nobody's doing the door knocking anymore. Nobody's doing the newspaper ads anymore. Nobody's doing, whatever flyers or whatever, nobody's doing that stuff. Very, very minimal.
This was my conversation for you today. You're bang on. I wanted to talk to you about this stuff today, not on air, but I think you built your place by being the mayor of Drouillard, man. And I think going around and being the mayor of Windsor, not actually, or maybe if you want to be, but you know what I'm saying?
Just remember us when
going to restaurants, creating more connections with more people. Real life ones, I think, is where you that's where that energy of yours is infectious. Mm-hmm. Whereas even though it's very authentic on Instagram, the other guys might not be. But how's the consumer figuring that out? That's where my right. That's where I think it's hard as a consumer. It's Mike leverage. Is what he is.
Yeah, and you have more leverage because, again, less people are doing that, right? So you don't have less competition.
It's like the social media stuff. Like, going back to your point right there, it's all surface level. When you actually have that real conversation in front of the person, with the person at their place, in their house, that's when you're going deep. Like, you're building a deeper relationship that way. It's not surface. It's not, I'm going to watch Mike talk for 3 seconds on a story, click over to the next guy, now I'm watching cats and lions.
Yeah, or the next guy who's also a carpenter acting like you, but then the second the camera's off is and
that will happen a lot.
When you turn the camera off, it stays the same.
And that will happen. And I don't want to bring up any other business, but you and I had this conversation when you were in my office about other people replicating and copying your stuff. It happens. It's just the nature, right? On social media, everything's great. Nobody sees the behind the scenes stuff, right? So they copy what I'm doing. They copy what you're doing. They copy what you're doing. And right when that turns off, we hate these customers. Screw this. Do it this way. Do it this way. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Right? There's not that beauty of the actual authentic person that we're showcasing. And again, I don't want to speak ill about anybody else's business, but it's the nature. They copy you. They can copy you on social media because I see everybody. You want them to see your video,
right? And
then now I see that video. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna do that same video.
Yeah.
And try to steal people away from him.
Man, that's how you know. That's how you know you made it.
Yeah.
Honestly,
yeah.
A couple weeks ago, I got my first real troll on Instagram, and I was like, "Oh, guy made fun of my chainsaw." Right? You know what I mean? He's just trying to irk in there, and I said to Danny, I'm like, this guy is trying to get me to answer, and I could have ripped him. I had a good one lined up. He's like, "Did you get that chainsaw from your sister?" And I'm like, I'm like, no, actually from your sister. But
He didn't say
I
that.
didn't say that until I got on this microphone today. But like,
Yeah.
like that's
Now he's
kinda-
gonna know.
Like that,
He's coming.
yeah, I hope he
You
listens.
know?
Yeah, but like that's how you know that you like. I feel like it's kind of like the way it is in the world today. Is like that's how you know you made it. Whether somebody's trying to copy something you're doing, or
Yeah.
somebody's trying to like irk you into an internet fight. Like, you know, and man, I think that's when you're winning too. Is when you like basically like read something or hear something and you don't let it get under your skin. You don't feel the need to, you know, answer,
Retaliate.
protect, and like if it's somebody you like, you actually still continue to like them, just because you don't agree with them, right? You know, I don't know,
Everybody's got an opinion.
right? Yeah, I feel like that's just like the next level of being okay. So
Very interesting. Yeah.
very
for sure.
interesting. Good chat today, boys.
That
That was
was a good
awesome,
chat.
man.
I
It was
liked it.
awesome. I'm so glad you came in.
Thank
Is there
you.
anything you got to get out there, like as far as like something you want people to hear about, a new dish, anything like that?
Oh, wait for the new menu. This thing is gonna be nice. This is gonna. I'm excited because it's good. I just got the pictures back too. Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
We got our graphic designer. Do you guys know Greg? Greg Edwards.
No.
He does all of our graphics.
There you go. Shout out Greg.
Yeah, shout out Greg. He's killing it. All our photography, videography. We came in Saturday. We spent like good 6 hours just cooking. Picture, cook, picture, cook, picture. It looks terrific. Honestly, I'll share it with you guys afterwards.
Well, you know what we should do first? Live on the set, go off the set. I mean, like
Okay.
go
Do it
and
over there.
eat. Yeah,
I'm in.
I'm in.
That would be sweet.
That'd be fun. We've never
Yeah.
done anything like that. I don't know what the Greg. Work on it. This whole setup by me is about this. If I leave this desk, I'm like, and this is the first time we haven't screwed it up. We knock on wood.
Knock on wood again.
So yeah, Greg, I need your help because I cannot do this off of outside of the Tango One Studios, located at 89 Murray Street. Yeah. So anyways, thank you for coming on here today, Omar.
Thanks
Please
for having me.
support local, support Mike. Great thing he's doing. Check him out on Droulard. You guys know him. He's the best on Instagram and everything else that you do, Mike.
Thanks,
Super
man.
talented. And Omar's food, I attest to it. I feed it to my kids. I feed it to myself. And you know that I care about what I eat. So, like, take that. And, 6WT24, if you're listening,
Yeah.
might get you a little bit of a discount if you enter that in and pretend like you're part of our gym. But it'll help us in the end. So we appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. It's fun. I think we should do it again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Over and out.